So for those of you who are tired of hearing us talk about gluten, too bad. We're talking about it again.
Because it keeps coming up.
Because it keeps coming up. I am Dr. Martin Rutherford, and I am a certified functional medicine practitioner and chiropractor.
Dr. Randall Gates, board certified chiropractic neurologist, also a chiropractor.
Now, usually when patients come in, as you all know, we do an interview, and in many of you, we've had the gluten discussion because now it's kind of out there and people are familiar with it. Whereas 5 years ago, it was like, oh, what's gluten? Or, oh, that gluten fat or whatever. That people are taking it more seriously now, and that's a good thing. What I have a number of patients come in and said, yeah, I got off the gluten, but I didn't feel particularly better. And so then I'll explain, well, that doesn't mean that you're not sensitive or intolerant or that you don't have a gluten sensitivity or allergy or something like that. It just means that there are other things still going on. You might have stress mechanisms that are irritating the inside of your stress hormones that are irritating the inside of your gut. Maybe you still have a bug in there that nobody has figured out to kill. Maybe you have a parasite, maybe you have H. pylori, maybe you have small intestinal bacteria. And I go through that whole thing. And usually it makes sense. You could have other cross sensitivities to gluten. So now, you get off the gluten, but you're still reacting to their cross sensitivities, and they go, oh, I can still eat that. So that's when you come in the door. But after you've been through the program, and after it's become clear that you have a issue with gluten, okay, and you're done, and you go out, and your tummy starts hurting again.
Then you start eating gluten because you figure, well, my stomach's still hurting and I don't know why, so I'm just going to eat gluten.
Because I love it. I may as well eat what I, this is what I,
exactly.
I may as well eat what I love.
And my mind goes to, well, let's figure out why your stomach is hurting. You may have something completely different going on. You may be developing irritable bowel syndrome. Maybe you have small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. Maybe you have H. pylori because you went through a stress. H. pylori is a stomach bacteria that will basically affect your stomach acid levels. It will create stomach pain. Maybe you have that going on. So rather than just jumping back and eating gluten and undoing everything we tried to do for 4.5 to 6 months, stay off the gluten, come back in or consult one of your doctors and figure out what's causing the stomach pain. So then that can be taken care of and remain on your diet that we've recommended the whole time.
Yeah, maybe we should give out the DVD that we see about. I did a 20-minute DVD. Yeah, I should do a 20-minute DVD on why you should never, if you're not a patient in this office, you should never, ever, ever eat gluten again. In fact, you should probably update it. But I mean, it's still pretty.
Do one of these on it.
It's still pretty accurate.
Send it out to everybody.
So, but man, I mean, I'm blown away. I mean, I had one patient who this is before Dr. Gates got here, and this poor gentleman. I mean, he had peripheral neuropathy, he had diabetes type 2, he had Hashimoto's, he had everything. He was totally clean. He's running around. Oh, I got so much energy, and I did so much good stuff, and I went dancing, and I emptied out the garage, and then I went to the wedding, and then I did this, and I did that. I've never had this one. And I see him 8 months later. He's put the weight back on. He's sitting there like this. I'm like, what happened to you? He goes, well, I don't know. I went, when did you start eating gluten? Goes, well, I ate it, and it didn't hurt my stomach. And I'm like, huh. So we're not doing a good job, apparently, with some people getting that message in. It is, all joking aside, this is critical. The gluten molecule looks identical. This is pretty weird too. The gluten molecule, which is a protein, molecularly looks identical to your thyroid, for those of you who have Hashimoto's, which is an endocrine gland. Molecularly also looks identical to your cerebellum, for those of you who have dizziness, vertigo, balance, stress mechanisms, and all that other type of stuff, which is a neurological tissue. And if you eat gluten, it affects all of those things. And that's just the beginning. So then you eat it, you're all cleaned up, you're feeling good, life is wonderful. You eat it, you feel good because, I don't know why, because you feel good because you know, maybe something's going on, maybe you're really in a good spot. I don't know why you would feel good eating it, but if you feel good eating it in the beginning and you think that means you can keep eating it, man, if you're a patient in this office, you should not be eating gluten. And that's not a philosophy. That's not a theory. No, that is one of the science says it is one of the biggest immune stimulators or activators or irritators that there is. So for all of those who are good people and out there doing this, this was not for you. Thank you very much. Exactly. But if you eat it and you call us, and the first thing you better do is call us and say, I'm not feeling good. Does it matter that I started eating gluten again? And then we'll say, watch Success Keys, number 35. Come back in and let's figure out what happened. And by the way, usually at that point, it doesn't take this big program to get you, that it might just be a simple matter of getting you on some repair bite, putting you on a 10-day fast or something like that, and or
right, exactly,
large elimination diet and reintroducing some foods or something like that. So, but please don't eat gluten and justify it as being okay, particularly if your symptoms have come back. Okay, don't do it. All right. So we will see you next week.
We look forward to it.
We'll probably be a lot nicer next week.
Send us any ideas you have, and we'll keep talking to everybody out there, and we'll get more ideas too.
Okay.